Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Deep Dive. It's me, your resident nerdy friend who reads way too many finance crime headlines. And I promise, this week's story is a doozy. Grab your coffee, because today we're talking about a woman who made Bernie Madoff look like a corner lemonade stand operator. Yes, we're diving into the twisted, glamorous, and utterly audacious tale of Qian Zhimin, aka the Bitcoin Queen. She conned so many people and laundered so much stolen cash into crypto that when British police finally caught up with her, the value of what they seized was a staggering £5 billion. To put that into perspective, that's more than the annual budget of some small countries. Just wild. So that's the big question, right? How on earth did she manage to pull this off? How did she convince so many people, turn their life savings into a digital fortune, and come this close to getting away with it all? It's an incredible story about greed, technology, and one huge fatal mistake. So let's get into it. Okay, first things first. To really understand the scam, you have to understand the character she was playing. Her whole operation wasn't just built on some business plan. It was built on a very carefully constructed and, completely fake persona. And this is where it gets interesting. Look at the difference between the myth and the reality. She sold investors this image of a financial genius with a PhD from China's top university, a self-styled goddess of wealth. But the truth? Well, it's a bit less glamorous. She actually had a vocational diploma and was already a fugitive from a previous pyramid scheme when she started this one. The audacity is just off the charts. So, with this slick persona, she launched an investment company called Lantian Garui, which became the engine for a truly massive fraud. Let's dive into the scam itself. And the scale here is just mind-blowing. She didn't just target a few wealthy investors. No, she convinced over 128,000 ordinary people, we're talking retirees, business professionals, even judges, to hand over a jaw-dropping 43 billion yuan. So how did she do it? Well, it was a classic Ponzi scheme. Nothing particularly new there. The only innovation was swapping paper fraud for blockchain fraud. Same soup, different bowl. She promised these absurdly high returns, like 100 to 300% on Bitcoin mining, but then just used the money from new victims to pay off the early ones. Classic move. It creates this powerful illusion of success that just sucks more and more people in. And check out this slogan. This was her marketing genius. It's not just promising you some money, it's promising dynastic, generational wealth for your entire family. It's a pitch that preys directly on people's deepest hopes. Seriously, if greed had a marketing department, she would have been the CEO. And hey, real talk, if you're enjoying this absolute mess of a story, make sure to subscribe. Rate us, review us, tell your friends. It helps more than you know. So by 2017, China started cracking down on crypto fraud, and Qian knew the party was over. And this is where Bitcoin comes back into the story, not as an investment for her victims, but as an escape tool for her. Now, just a quick refresher on why Bitcoin was the perfect getaway car. The key thing here is that it isn't controlled by any single bank or government. It exists on this global public ledger, the blockchain, which makes it incredibly difficult for authorities to just freeze or grab through the usual channels. So yeah, why Bitcoin? Because it solved every single problem a fugitive with billions in stolen cash would have. I mean, you can't exactly stuff 43 billion yuan into a suitcase, right? But you can put the crypto equivalent on a tiny encrypted device and just walk across any border. It's the ultimate in financial portability. And here's her grand escape. It wasn't just a simple flight out, it was a whole calculated journey. She fled China, laundered her identity by buying a brand new passport from St. Kitts and Nevis, and finally landed in the UK, totally ready to live large on her stolen fortune. She zipped off to London like she was speed running the villain route in a video game. But here's the beautiful irony of this whole story. The very technology she used to escape, the blockchain, would end up being the permanent public record of her crime. It was the digital trail of breadcrumbs that would lead right to her. And she did not lay low in London. Not at all. She rented a mansion for over £17,000 a month, went on massive shopping sprees, and hired an assistant just to help her convert all her crypto into cold, hard cash. She was living like a queen, and it was all funded by her digital hoard. And this gets to a huge misunderstanding about Bitcoin. A lot of people think it's anonymous, like digital cash you can't trace. But the reality is that every single transaction is recorded forever on the blockchain. It's pseudonymous, not anonymous. If investigators can link your real identity to even one of your crypto wallets, they can follow the money everywhere. It's basically like wearing a giant neon sign that says, "Yes, officer, the stolen money is right this way." And this right here was her big mistake, her fatal flaw. She tried to buy a £22.5 million mansion in London, but she couldn't give a good explanation for where all that Bitcoin came from. The lawyer handling the sale thought it was super suspicious, did their job, and reported it to the police. And that one single report unraveled everything. So when police raided her home, they seized devices containing over 61,000 Bitcoin. At the time, it was one of the largest crypto confiscations in history. The blockchain breadcrumbs had led them right to her front door. So Qian was caught, but her arrest kicked off a whole new, really complicated chapter. What in the world happens to these billions of pounds now sitting in the custody of the British government? Well, in 2024, Qian pleaded guilty to money laundering and got a sentence of 11 years and 8 months in a UK prison. And her assistants, the ones who helped her live that luxury life and convert the crypto, they got significant prison time too. And the judge's words at the sentencing were just brutal and direct. They cut right to the heart of it all. She said Qian showed zero remorse for the thousands of lives she ruined, calling her motive pure greed. And yeah, that's putting it mildly. So now we're left with this huge international legal fight. The UK government has a claim since they spent all the resources to investigate and prosecute her. The Chinese government has a claim because the crime happened there. And then, most importantly, you have the 128,000 victims who lost their life savings and say the money is rightfully theirs. It is a massive, complex mess with no easy answers. And that's the roller coaster life of Qian Zhimin, the so-called Bitcoin queen, proof that you can turn a Ponzi scheme into a world tour until the police check the blockchain. So a huge thanks to my genius producer FireflyHaku, who keeps this show running smoother than Qian's money laundering operation. And of course, thank you for listening. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and please remember, if someone guarantees you huge crypto profits, the only thing that's truly guaranteed is your regret.